Howdy, gamers. You know what time it is. As we ever approach the great month of October and spooky season, it's time to talk about some spooky decks, EX10 just came out, and this deck is hot off of winning me at locals, going undefeated. This is a very cheap, nasty deck. It will probably be getting hit with a ban, maybe, and I'll, speculate where that will be when I get there, but here we are. Myotismon. Uh, uh, uh. One memory, two memory. This deck is crazy nasty. It's something you might be seeing. So here's my version. It's pretty standard. One me locals is the quickest I've had a turnaround for a deck where I'm like, okay, yep, tried it. Ooh, this was good enough for a video. So good old Myotismon, baby. And of course, we'll do rookies first. We'll save the egg. But we'll do 4 Ukomon because he's sick nasty. He does everything you need for a rook in a deck that doesn't like to digivolve. In a deck that doesn't really give a shit about that we're hard playing and stuff. So Ukomon is great. You could run the hidden fifth Ukomon. You might even run 6 or 7 if your opponent doesn't get you. But we don't do that here at Blue Raspberry Gaming. And then the only other rookie is 4 of the Digimon, which you might have not seen. So this card is a searcher who you reveal top 4 of your deck, add a card with Myotis in its text to hand, and then return the rest to the bottom of the deck. And if you added a card, you can pitch a card from your hand to trash, which is nice. He has the Inheritive Retaliation, which will never, ever, 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 ever come up in this deck. So only 8 rookies. You will be playing with no rookie a lot of times, because you might not always open with one. But that's okay. Then we can do the eggs. We have 4 Demimera, and then 1 Demimera. 5 eggs because we're doing Uko stuff. We have 4 of the on deletion trash level 5 or higher to draw 2, and then 1 of the draw 1 trash 1. Pretty standard purple eggs for this type of stuff. So we'll get these over. On to the level 5, so we're skipping a step. 4 of the man with a plan, Myotismon, the world's cuntiest vampire. And look at him drinking his red glass of juice. Who knows what that is. So, first off, when he would be played, you can delete one of your other Digimon with Myotis in text to reduce his play cost by 4, which you're honestly not going to do that often. Like, I didn't do this once, use that effect. I mean, you can, which, if you already have, like, an Arcadian Mummymon on field, you pop them, play him for 3, and then you can start doing things, but that doesn't really come up. On play, on deletion, give one of your purple Digimon, which only ever comes up with Uko, which, like, you can't give him this. Blocker Retaliation, that's cool. And then on deletion, you can play a purple tamer from your trash suspended. Any purple tamer, you play it out. And to pair with him, we play the sick nasty promo Myotismon X. Remember, these are winner stamp ones. This means I'm a winner. You can only get these if you win. So, that should show you everything you need about Blue Raspberry Gaming here. A certified winner. Oy vey. So, on play, when digivolving, he pops a level 4 or lower. That's okay. Whatever. On deletion, if Myotismon or X anybody is in this guy's sources, you can play level 6 with Myotismon in its name from your trash. So that's the part you like. You combo this with Myotismon. You're playing a Mallow Myotismon in this deck and a Tamer suspended when you pop him. And you're not ever relying on your opponent to pop things. You're popping everything yourself, so you're getting all these effects whenever you want. That's actually all the level 5 Myotises. I know famously, because I've played, I used to play these bad purple decks. I used to play a lot more like Myotis in name, but not no more. Then we have the Arcanian Mummy package. So you play 4 of each, and they do very similar things. So Arcanimon is a blocker who, on play, you reveal the top 5 of your deck, then you take out 2 cards with Myotis and text and put them to the trash, return the rest to the bottom. Then, on deletion, you can play a Myotismon Tamer without paying the cost, as long as you do not have one of that Tamer on field already. So that comes up in sequencing, so always remember that you have to play a Tamer with a different name. Myotismon has the same on deletion, but he has retaliation and on play draw 2 trash 2. So both of these, there's a Tamer you can delete to play them for either 3 or 0. They then do things, do their shit, get you a lot of card advantage, set up your trash, and just keep you going. These are the goats, and there were new Arukenis and Mummy, which I do play. So new Arukeni goes on play, trash a card in your hand, delete up to 6k DP of your guys. And then they both have the same on deletion too as the old ones. So this is great for clearing floodgates, for clearing. I was playing against a Diabora player. You clear up a bunch of, a couple of their tokens. It's great for stuff like that. Mummymon, on play, trash a card in your hand to de-digivolve. This came in clutch a lot, actually. I see people playing this deck play none of this. I think once the stuff gets hit, he's good. He's sick nasty. You definitely want to play him. I don't know if you want to play him at more than one, but you do want to play him. On to the star of the show. Myotismon, the new one. So first, he has an ability in trash. So you never want this card in hand. You always want this in trash. Because in trash, he can delete 2 of your level 5 or higher Digimon with Myotis and text, and then play him for a cost of 3. Cool. On play when digivolving, when attacking. Delete 2 other unsuspended Digimon. Not just your opponent, yours, which is helpful for doing your shenanigans to pop your own guys and do everything you want. Because all turns, once per turn, when any other of your Digimon or Tamers are deleted, trash your opponent's top security card and return one of their Digimon with the lowest TP to the bottom of the deck. Crazy, crazy card. This card does everything you want. He is a menace on the field. He is great at just clearing house, just like decimating bodies, He's just so good. He's so good. He constantly trashes security. He's a big problem. He is part of the big loop that that you do, because you just keep getting him in trash and keep playing him out, deleting your own guys. And then the loop is facilitated by this man. Now, if you've never seen this card, it is a BT3 card. Old, ancient, haggard. Myotis, BT3, piercing, never comes up. You're going to swing with this thing? No, you're not. All turns when another Digimon is deleted, gain 1 memory. That's it. That's all he does. That is all he does. And we'll talk about the loop in a second once we've got the other facilitators of that, but this is the main card that does that. This is the card that will be inevitably banned, which you will just replace it with another Mallow. And I think the deck can work without it. It could still be a fun deck. To be perfectly fair, in the games I've won with this and played with this, most of the time I wasn't even like fully looping to burn your opponent from 5 security to 0 and go for game, because the deck is just very control heavy without doing this. So you don't need it, but it is super fun to do. It's not fun for your opponent. So I say that as, this will get hit. I fully believe that. But until it does, you can play it. On to Tamers. For Arukeni and Mummymon. This is the Tamer that you can delete when you play an Arukeni or Mummy to reduce its play cost by 3. And then on deletion, you play a level 5 or lower with Myotis in its text from trash without playing the cost. At the end of your opponent's next turn, delete it. So you get an extra body. to then delete out. And then we play 3 Yukio. Now, I see people play 4. I don't know. I never really ran into trouble not finding him, and I think this one's more important, and just with like space and stuff, he's fine. He is your memory setter, and then when any of your Digimon with Myotis in name are played, you can pop this tamer and give a Myotismon rush, and then gain 1 memory. So, he's great for gaining the additional memory, and also, just giving rush to do, when you're doing the loop shenanigans, he gives rush to your final Digimon to swing for game, is more or less what you're going for. We then play 3 Analog Youth, because Analog Youth is great. Great, fills up your trash. Look at top 3, grab a Digimon, get everything in trash. When he will specifically proc when your Myotis X dies, because it's a level 5 with a card in source. So then you'll gain a memory from that, which you were always popping your X. Then we go on to our options, which we play 4 Miss Memory Boost and 1 Calling. Miss Memory Boost is just nice to gain you memory, and fill up your trash again. And especially you get the Booba art, who doesn't like Booba? Or who doesn't like Beyonce, right? You can pick. And then there's this yucky one, which is not an altar, but who cares? And then 1 Calling from Darkness. You can play as many as you want as your opponent doesn't see you, but for now you can only play 1 if your opponent can see your cards. So the loop. More or less, I'm not going to do the full thing, but you have your tamers, just him in hand. You need these cards, and you need multiple Mallows in trash. You need like 2 or 3, and you need probably 2 of him. So you need a lot to do this, to infinitely go for game, But the general gist is, if you have 2 of these tamers, you can play an Arukeni or Mummymon for free, because you pop both of them. And then if you have whatever body's in trash, you'll play a Myotis, and just say like another Mummymon. And you've kept her. That's 0 memory. You then Digivolve over here. You have 3 bodies on board, You do your thing with him. Boom. You play him out by popping, let's say, the 2 that are going to die at the end of turn, no matter what. That gets you back a tamer. Myotis will then play you another tamer. Myotis will then die playing Mallow. Then you can, like, this guy's dead, but you can then pop Digimon. So if your opponent has a Digimon, you pop them, you pop your own guy, gain 2 memory, and then you just keep doing this as long as you have Mummymons and shit in Arcany in hand. Just keep popping these tamers, play out the Myotis, Digivolve next antibody, to fully loop, you're going to need 2 Mallow on field. Because once you have 2 on field, this costs 3 to play from trash. Once you have 2 of these on field, but whenever you delete 2 Digimon, you will be gaining 4 memory. So 3, you pay 3, gain 4. You're gaining 1 memory for every time you do it. And then every time you delete your Digimon, your Mallow will then trash your opponent's security and bottom deck one of their Digimon. So also, one of the couple things you want to consider when you're doing this. You're going to need a couple Digimon on board, because Mallow will just delete 2 things. If your opponent doesn't have any Digimon, and you don't have enough unsuspended guys to delete, he will just target your own Mallows, because he has to delete 2 unsuspended Digimon. If there are 2 unsuspended other Digimon, he will delete them. So that's, that's what he does. You need to have a couple bodies, or your opponent needs bodies. 2, you will need to get 2 of these on field to be perfectly free. So when you can do this, you will just win the game uninterrupted. And, if your opponent is going slow enough for you to set up for that, yes, go for this. But I think most times I found that I had to play the game normally and then kind of keep my opponent on their toes with just kind of going into this normally and doing all my other Myota shit to play like control and just chip away at their security with just constantly deleting stuff like once per turn. But once you've done this, you do kind of establish this whatever super board and the other tamer wherever he's at, because you can play him whenever as long as he's in trash for your final swing. Because eventually you won't play two of these tamers. You'll play one of him, and then you'll play out another Myotis, give it the rush to swing for game. But so you can burn through all your security, and you just need to be doing a couple things. You just need to be popping all your guys, making sure you have enough bodies on board to not pop your own big Mallows. You need to also constantly be popping your own Mallow because his ability is only once per turn. So, you can't be just doing that infinitely, right? You can't just keep flooding the board with him because you need him in trash to keep doing this. So you need like 2 in play and 1 constantly needs to be in trash or else this will mess up. And then it's also people are like, this is an infinite loop. It's not, because you do need Mummymon and Arukeni and then enough Myotis X to get at least 2 of these on board. So, that's long-winded, but the combo is decently complicated for Digimon standards, right? For other card games, it's not that complicated, but for Digimon standards, it's a lot. And this is like, pilot error is huge here. Like, I definitely noticed myself, like, flubbing steps on this last night, but still winning with, just this deck is very powerful without it. Very powerful control deck without having to just go infinite on your opponent. But for now, go infinite. That's what I'm saying. Go infinite, do it until they ban it. Purple fans stay eating. That's been the Mallow Loop deck profile. Keep your eyes out for more EX10 content. I've got at least right now 2 other EX10 decks built already, and I'm tweaking them. But I've been the Blue Raspberry Gamer. You've been the Watchers. This has been Myotismon, and I will see you all next time. Bye bye.